Some people forget that the journey is everything. So what can we learn from the men and women who have been there, got through it and achieved greatness? Follow me as I travel the world to bring you their story. Welcome to Fascinating People. Simon, thanks for having us today on board your first flight to Zurich from London City Airport. Thank you very much. Before we get into Surf Air, let's talk about yourself and where did you grow up? Talk to me about how you grew up and whereabouts and how was that?
So I grew up whole of my childhood and teenage years in the same town, same house in Warwick, in the middle of England. Little picture book, pretty small town.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things you get when you grew up in a small town is a desire to move to a big city. And I think also the fact that I grew up in one place gave me a very stable upbringing, but left me a little bit of a wanderlust to move around. Okay. So whilst my parents, they're still living in the same house after 50 years, and I've lived in 20 different houses in the last 15 years.
Wow, okay. And did you show many signs of having an entrepreneurial mind, spirit, business spirit early on?
Yeah, I don't know how much you would have seen then, but you know, I've always been very interested in business.
Yeah.
And you know, I actually spent part of my education studying business. Made sure that after I left school, I spent a year working in business before I went to university. And I guess not forgetting that I grew up as a teenager during the Thatcher years, right? And I think that left a very great impression on me because it was very much a time when people were talking for the first time about entrepreneurs and small business owners. You know, we used to be called the nation of shopkeepers. And that idea that actually small business could be a real engine of the economy. I used to find that really appealing.
Right, okay. And I suppose growing up in a small town, exactly like you said, it's something very appealing.
Exactly, and my father was an entrepreneur as well.
Okay.
You know, he set up his own business, engineering machine tool business, and grew that. And, you know, I watched that. I helped him. I took part in it. It was kind of exciting, and I saw the downsides and the upsides as well. I saw years when the money wasn't coming in, and years when the money
the stress and the So then you went to Oxford.
I did, yeah.
University. How was that?
I mean, that was great. Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much all it's
fantastic city.
claim to be. It's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, I live there as well.
Yes. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Really, really a great privilege. And I think, like most people, those university years, they never leave you. They're very important, and they form a big part of your development in what you remember.
Yes.
I think one of the things that really struck me was, of course, you're privileged to receive a great education, but also you mix with an amazing range of people.
Yeah.
And I remember when I went there, my dad saying to me, and I'll never forget this time of him dropping me off, right? That famous moment. Your
first time.
Parent leaves you, right? And that's the opportunity to give your child a little pearl of wisdom, right?
Yes.
And his pearl of wisdom was, look, you'll never have an opportunity in your life to mix with such a range of people.
Yeah.
And once you get into work, then you get narrowed into meetings.
Very true. Yes.
And really encouraged me to meet as many different people while I was at
different
university.
backgrounds and
And Oxford was great from that.
Yeah, it is.
Huge amount of talent, of all kinds.
Yeah. And then you went straight from university to BA.
I did. Yeah.
How did that come about?
I wanted to get into business, and I wanted to get a great training in management.
Yeah.
I'd spent a lot of my time during university still doing part university, part business.
Yeah.
And so I was looking for a job like that. British Airways had a really acclaimed management training program.
Okay.
And look, I mean, it was pretty exciting, right? It's kind of sexy, isn't it? Like the
definitely.
Business of flying.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you're, in your early 20s, that was a great thing to get into.
Yeah.
And I had this love of travel, so it all came together.
Okay.
Luckily, I got a place at BA, and I really was quite set on spending 4 or 5 years. That was my plan.
Right.
See through the management development program.
Yeah.
Do a bit of travelling, learn about aviation, and see where that took me. But then British Airways, after that, said, "Oh well, would you like to do this?" And they kept putting these extra jobs in front of me that were all really interesting.
Because 4 or 5 years didn't go to plan, did it? It lasted a lot longer.
Yeah. That was my biggest missed milestone of my whole life.
Yes, yeah. And what did you learn when you was at British Airways along that journey?
Gosh, I was there 20 years, so I functionally a lot about running companies.
Yes, yeah.
Everything from, I spent time at BA on the digital side, e-commerce, the early days of the internet, which was terribly exciting. And on the sales and marketing side, what was it like to build a brand? What was it like to create products within a brand? For example, say the seats in business class would turn into beds and all those kind of things. And also, what was it like working with large groups of people?
Yeah.
Managing groups like the cabin crews, 14,000 people. It's calls for a completely different attitude.
Yeah. How was it for you at the beginning? Because going into work at such a huge global brand, it can be quite daunting for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I think it was also very exciting. You're part of a organisation, and at its time was enviable.
Yes,
it was like the leading, if not the leading airline brand back then. And so I was actually, honestly, just desperately proud to be part of it.
Going back to university, do you feel that has a big part in being an entrepreneur today? Do you feel that education is an important factor in getting into business or having that entrepreneurial spirit? Because a lot of people don't have the opportunity to go to university to get that great education, and coming from Oxford.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it would be the last thing I would ever say that that's a natural path to entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
But I think that for sure, getting a good education has to be the basis of every child, right? It's something that, as a father now, really, really matters to me.
Yeah.
To see and make difficult choices about the kind of education your kids get. But if you look at successful entrepreneurs, they come from all kinds of backgrounds. Many of them stopped formal education at quite early years and still made it.
Definitely.
Like the most famous names in
100%.
British entrepreneurs took those
left school,
paths.
didn't go to university.
Sure.
Yes.
So I think education is one way to do it. It's not the only way to do it.
Yeah.
But I would say like a strong early years, mid-years education is essential for everybody.
Helps. Yeah, I agree. As you progress through British Airways, after 18 years, you become executive vice president.
Yeah.
How was that? How did that feel? How was that time for you? Because
that was a great time for me because At that point, I was in New York, and I was looking after the Americas business for British Airways.
Yeah.
So it was a reasonably big business, had a great team, and it was very new for me.
Right.
Living and working in London, and all of a sudden
You're in New York.
Working in New York, which is arguably, one of the best cities in the world. Boris Johnson once said that New York was high in the top 2 cities of the world, and at least on that matter, I can agree with it. It's a fantastic place.
Did you face many setbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I went to New York and I moved there with my family in August 2008.
Wow.
And in September 2008, the first month into my job, Lehman Brothers went out of business. So the first thing that happened when I was there.
Wow.
And then it was a scramble. It was really, the airlines were in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
You were within 90 days of cash. And we all had to think pretty hard about, well, how are we going to get ourselves out of this? And so even in big companies, now and again you get those shock moments that are almost equivalent to some of the bumps in the road that small businesses experience.
Yeah. And how did BA get over that time? Because like you said, after you've been there for 1 month and that's happened, I suppose it was a very tough time for not just yourself, but also the company.
Sure. I think actually BA is one of those companies that really does best during a crisis.
Right.
I think you see this in a lot of big companies, but in steady times of sort of medium level profitability, people get a bit complacent, people get a bit entitled, oh yeah, I deserve this. And it's really when you can see the cliff edge that people perform their best.
Yeah.
And that was that time. It was in many ways exciting as well as being terrifying.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that BA did pretty well was everybody knew what was happening, so there was quite good communication.
Right.
And that helped everyone feel part of the solution. Even though the solution in many cases was very painful, because ultimately any company in that situation just has to get smaller.
Yeah.
That means letting people go.
Letting people go.
I think BA does that in a very, very humane way, but ultimately there's only so comfortable you can be about letting people go.
And how did you deal with that? Was that tough for you and having to make decisions?
Oh gosh, it was.
Yes,
I mean, we lost literally hundreds of people from the US organization.
Wow.
And it was very important to me to be part of that and not kind of do that from some ivory tower where you were signing an instruction.
Yeah, you wanted to be there and explain the reasons why. And
right, and also I think, the way that people see, the people who are staying in any organisation or company, during those times they look at how are the people who are leaving, how are they treated. And that's really important to me. And so you can't have these situations where someone who leaves a company has to kind of, walk out with their stuff in a crate, and it's all a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
Actually, what we did in New York, we had a party.
Wow.
Because we said, look, there's about 100 people who are leaving the company, and they've all had a great career, and we celebrated the time they'd had with us.
Wow. Okay.
And they all came to the party. It was a good party. And for me, it was very important to actually spend time with each one of those people.
Yeah.
Actually go up and say goodbye and wish them good luck.
Yeah.
And pretty much every one of them had already planned what they were doing next in their lives and were quite motivated about it. Some people were still in a pretty bad way.
What surprised you the most about yourself during the time in New York? And obviously you've just gone through the tough times that you faced. You must have learned a lot about what you're capable of, what you can do, what you can't do, trying to juggle family and business while you're away from home. How was that for you?
I mean, that's all hard stuff. I learned pretty quickly that generally I tend to be fairly calm in a time of crisis.
Yes.
Which, is lucky to have that. Still, it's quite important because I think people don't want to see their leaders panicking.
No.
It's never a great thing to see. And so staying kind of calm is important. I think one of the things that surprised me while I was at BA is I learned that actually I was quite entrepreneurial and tended to be a bit of a rebel in a corporate environment.
Okay.
And that's the time I was enjoying myself the most.
Yeah.
It didn't work for everybody else all the time because they were like,
why are you doing this?
Trying to do these things.
Yeah.
But in the long run, they generally worked out.
Yeah. Can you explain a bit about Surf Air in your terms and what it is you guys do?
Sure. I mean, Surf Air is it's a really exciting idea, and I discovered it when I was in California very early on in the company's history. And really, what Surf Air has spotted is that traveling short haul is painful now. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
We spend so much time, waste so much of our lives waiting in airport queues, going from the first queue to the second queue to the third queue. How is it that what is actually only, in many cases, less than an hour of flying has turned into a 4-hour journey? All of this wasted time.
Yeah.
And Surf Air worked out that by using the infrastructure of private flying, small terminals, small planes, you could actually cut all of that time out, cut all that frustration out, and start making travel easy again. And all we had to do was actually make that work. Right? It's a good idea, but like all entrepreneurial ideas, you have to put it into practice.
Definitely.
And execution is the name of the game.
Vital.
Right?
Yeah.
But we've been doing it 4 years. We've been very successful in the US. We've grown very fast, and we've created this membership club where our members pay a monthly subscription, and they fly as many times as they like for free, which is quite unusual.
An interesting concept. Yes. Yeah.
But of course, what it does is it self-selects the people who are going to appreciate that time saving the most, who are frequent travellers.
Yes.
And I think that's really important in any starter, that you have to be very focused on what your target market is.
Yeah.
There's no point trying to be all things to all people.
And who would be your ideal client? Who would be your target
market? Our ideal
market?
client is probably a business person.
Yes.
All kinds of business. They could be anything from a banker to an architect.
Yeah.
But someone who travels frequently, going back and forth, typically between two places.
Yeah.
Probably every week. Most of our members are flying almost every week, and they have grown frustrated. They've come from commercial flying, and they're looking for a better way.
Yeah.
That's our idea.
Yeah. And you've just moved to London City Airport.
Yeah, right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How will that help Surf Air, and what are the benefits of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think London City is going to be a really critical breakthrough for Surf Air, because we're very focused on our members, and the members kept telling us again and again, look, our businesses need to take us to the City of London, Canary Wharf, Central London, Mayfair, etc.
Yeah.
And the other airports are just too far away. And London City just kept coming up as a request. So when we were able to strike a deal with London City to allow us to fly regularly in and out at good business times of day, affordably, then that was really amazing. It's a very exciting moment for Surf Air and for our members.
Yeah. And what destinations do you have in the pipeline?
Well, we see ourselves as very much a European airline.
Yes.
In the European market, of course. And so we expect to serve cities in Europe, like the kind of major cities you'd expect us to serve.
Yes.
Geneva, Barcelona, Berlin, Luxembourg, Amsterdam, Paris, Dublin. But not necessarily always from London.
Okay.
So our next routes will be served out of Zurich. We'll connect Zurich to Luxembourg, Zurich to Munich, and then probably some of those cities to Frankfurt or Berlin. But we'll grow in areas that our membership wants
us to see you. Yeah.
It's a really important part of Surf Air.
Yeah.
Very closely linked to where our membership wants us to fly. That's where we put our planes.
Fantastic. So what makes Surf Air different to any other membership-based schemes out there?
Surf Air is really one of the very few membership airlines anyway.
Yeah.
And certainly we're the only membership airline that use our own planes.
Right.
And we focus very much on having a proper business schedule, reliable business schedule.
Yes.
Where we typically will fly the beginning of the day, the end of the day, maybe 2 or 3 times in the morning, the kind of times the business people want to fly. And that's probably the big difference to the other membership approaches. I think our philosophy is very much about making sure our members have easy travel experience, that they just enjoy it, relax, and look at this environment. This is nice. You and I
fantastic.
Can have a chat.
Definitely, yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's not uncommon to be doing that. It's not unusual at all on a Surf Air plane for, you've got in California a tech entrepreneur sitting next to a VC.
It's more of a community.
It's very much a community.
Yes. Yeah. So dealing with an operation like this and being at British Airways, how do you personally deal with something going wrong?
Well, I mean, it's funny you say that, because I think a long career in a big airline, doesn't matter which of the big airlines, you do get very accustomed to dealing with things go wrong, because in aviation stuff goes wrong. It's a very, very complicated business, a lot of moving parts, and so pretty quickly you learn to deal with major setbacks. I've been through some pretty horrendous times.
Could you enlighten us
for example,
on any?
The years when British Airways was opening Terminal 5, a bit of a messy opening. With an operation like that that's so big, when it grinds to a halt, as it does now and again, you have a lot of people stranded.
Yeah.
Sometimes beyond your control. The volcano in Iceland.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember I was in New York at the time. We had 900 people in hotel rooms around the US.
I was in New York at the time.
We were paying for the hotel rooms every day.
Yeah.
And so I think the first thing is, like I said earlier, you have to stay calm. There's definitely not the time to panic. The second thing is you have to communicate as much as possible. Everybody wants to know what's happening. Your team want to know. Most importantly, your customers want to know.
Yeah.
The more you can tell them, the better. And then you have to just keep the faith that it will get sorted out. You have a good process and you're organised. You can always sort these problems out. None of these things are insurmountable.
And is that something you've seen from people that were above you in your earlier career, that you mentors or people that you admired and you thought, I need to install that into?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was lucky. I worked under some really amazing CEOs at BA. I worked very closely with Willie Walsh when he was the CEO of BA, and he had a really amazing talent for dealing with crisis.
Yeah.
Extremely good at it.
So what do you love about being the CEO of Surf Air?
Well, I mean, firstly, working with those kind of people, working with a team that's amazingly committed and just love what they're doing. It's a really exciting business. Right? It's an innovation in aviation. That's kind of unusual. You get to work with small planes, executive aircraft. That's kind of cool.
Get to travel a lot.
Yeah. Sometimes good, sometimes a pain.
Yes.
I would say that it's exciting and terrifying in equal parts.
Okay.
It's definitely not glamorous all the time. I mean, here we are. Okay, we're sitting having a nice chat on an executive jet. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
behind the scenes, it's not as glamorous. Yes.
It's very gritty. Yeah. Working in a pretty close environment with people. We don't have much money as a startup at all, so we have to really stretch things. It can be very tough at times, but it's invigorating.
So as you've just said, you don't have much money because you're a startup. How do you go about bringing in new customers, promoting your brand? How do you go about doing that?
I think you have to be as smart as you can with a very small amount of marketing money. And luckily I've got great sales and marketing people that work alongside me who think of just ingenious ways the whole time to get the brand out there. And then secondly, word of mouth. I think if you have a product that's A, a great product, and B, just interesting, people talk about it a lot.
Yeah. So you have 3 children?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, lucky me.
Lucky you. How do you juggle the work, family, personal life balance?
Yeah. Gosh, I think every single person struggles with that these days, because work becomes ever more demanding every year.
Takes over.
We're all more connected than we ever were. You can, anywhere you are, whether you're on holiday or at home, whether it's in the evening, you're always on. Yeah. And I think when you're in a startup, that is ever more acute. Always on it. Never goes away. And so it's quite hard to have switch off time. Yeah. I'm lucky my wife is brilliant and very supportive of this.
Understanding.
Very understanding. And together we make it work. You have to see this as a marathon. Yeah. And therefore you need to pace yourself a little bit.
Do you have a routine? Do you have a morning routine like so many entrepreneurs do?
Yeah. So a really important part of my morning is walking my kids to school. Yeah. And it only takes 10 minutes, but it's actually 10 minutes really good time with them. Yeah. And 10 minutes that nobody can be on a device, right? So no one's distracted.
Family time.
You can actually talk.
Yes.
And it sets me up for the day pretty well. Yeah. I like it.
And have you found having that routine has helped you with work? Do you think it's important for entrepreneurs to get into a routine? And because you hear that so often that routine is so important.
Yeah. You know what? When I was going into this job, a friend of mine, I just moved from California, of course, the homeland of entrepreneurs.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And a friend of mine who'd been through a couple of businesses, 2 successful exits. He said, look, just remember this, right? Keep eating, keep sleeping, keep exercising, stay close to your family.
Yeah. If you could go and tell your past self something, what would you tell yourself? Having learned what you've learned.
Definitely, I would have gone into having my own business earlier on.
Yes.
Much earlier, yeah. I had a
And
couple
why
of,
is that? Why?
You know, I had a couple of times when I was thinking of doing it and I was too afraid to leave the comfort
That's
of my big
interesting.
organisation.
Right, okay.
And I should have just done it. But I didn't. It hasn't ended badly for me at all. But I wish
No,
I'd done
but
it
that's
earlier.
interesting you mention that, because I'm sure a lot of people want to go off and start their own business but are comfortable or too afraid or are worried what might happen. And you would go back and tell yourself, just go for it.
Definitely just go for it.
Just go for it, yeah. Which is very interesting. And finally, if you could give one piece of advice to young entrepreneurs who are on their own journey, what would you give? You've been at some fantastic companies. You're on your own personal journey now. What piece of advice would you give?
I think it would be keep going.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an endurance sport. Setting up
You have to take the
starting a
knockbacks.
business, right?
Yeah.
And you just got to keep going.
Yes.
And there's knockbacks, and there are times when you think, well, it's just not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
But in those times, well, if you make a bit of a change, a bit of a pivot, then something very similar will work. And you've got to try things, test things. If they don't work, try something new.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Fantastic. Well, Simon, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Real pleasure talking to you.
And we'll do this again, I'm sure, sometime soon.
I definitely look forward
Thank you
to
very
that.
much. Thank you.